During this virtual mock art lesson, I am going to be showing you how to create these beautiful three-dimensional roses bursting out of our gorgeous picture frames here. Now, little hint, they're actually a lot easier to make than they look. What you are going to need is a small section of card, a very firm card. This is the back of one of my art pads that I cut down into a small square that fits into the center of my decorative paper plate. This is what we're going to be building our rose onto. You're going to need some modeling clay. I've picked the colors that I would like: yellow, greens, blue, and white. You guys can do whatever color you want for yours. I have a decorative paper plate that I am using as a picture frame here. They come in so many different shapes and sizes. Do whatever you would like for yours. And then I have Elmer's glue on a little bit of card I'm using as a base, and a paintbrush to apply the glue. Now, to begin our beautiful roses, what we need to do is start with our background color first. So what I'm going to do is take my blue here, and I want almost like a sky blue in the background. So I'm going to cover my base, my small section of card here, with the blue modeling clay. So all I'm going to do is peel off some small amounts like this, flatten it out. I'm pinching, I'm squeezing really hard and pinching that Play-Doh down with my fingers here. That simple. Then I'm going to lay it over my card here and do the same thing. I'm squishing it down, gently pushing it over the edges a little bit so it's lovely and tidy. Nice and smooth all the way down as far as I can get it to stretch. So it's very, very close. You can see it from the side on there. It's super flat. And I'm just going to keep squishing that over until I've covered the entire piece of card. You can do multicolored, you can do whatever you want for yours. I am just doing a light blue backing for mine. So let's go ahead and get our beautiful bases on here first. There we go. I have a lovely background covered in blue. So you can see how it's squished down nice and flat, just stretched over the surface of my card. Now I'm going to pop this to one side and bring in my shrink wrap here to make our rose petals. Now you can do whatever color you want. I have pre-selected a few colors and I'm going to do a yellow rose. I think green or blue rose might look a little odd, but I will use the green for the leaves later. So what I'm going to do is take a good chunk of yellow. Now I need to start by making some little balls. So I'm going to take a little bit of Play-Doh here, a little bit of modeling clay, rolling it between my palms here to make a little ball. Perfect. Now I want to make a few little balls like this, roughly the same size. So again, let's see. Yep, they look roughly the same size. Perfect. So carry on rolling just a few and try and get them roughly the same size. They don't have to be perfect by no means. Here we go. Do the best you can to get them roughly the same size, because these are going to be flattened out to become our petals. And we don't want one huge one and one little one. We're going to wrap them around one another. There we go. Let's do a little bit more. There we go. And another one. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need, so I'm going to do a few. There we go. I've got 8 to begin with. I can always add more if I need them, and if I've done too many, I can just add it back into the modeling clay, what I don't use. So let's move these little petal balls to one side. Now you can just flatten this out with your fingers if you want to. I'm going to use the shrink wrap here. So I'm opening it up. I've got 2 layers, my top layer and bottom layer, and I'm going to just lay down, spacing them apart a little bit. I've got 3 petals there, and then I'm going to squish down with my finger. There we go, squishing them out. There we are, getting a lovely flat petal shape there. Wonderful. Now you can also do this with frosting. If you buy royal icing in a box, you can get it in different colors or just in white. You can make beautiful roses for cakes just like this, the same you would do with modeling clay. There we are, and I'm going to peel this back. 1, 2, and 3. And I have 3 little rose petals here. I'm just going to squish it down a little bit more to make it a tiny bit thinner. Now, to make the center of your rose, all you are going to do, it's so simple, these are beautiful. Simply roll it over. I'm pinching the bottom as I go. I'm not rolling the top, I'm just rolling the bottom. And as you can see, I end up with a beautiful coil just by rolling the bottom like that. Now I'm ready to pick up another petal. And this time I'm going to do the same thing. I want it to be a little thinner on the top. So I have a beautiful thin rose. Now I'm going to, where I have my finish here, the line, I'm going to aim to get that in the center of my petals. You can see the line, aiming for the center there. And again, I'm going to just gently wrap it around like that, and then I'm going to push that out a little bit at the top there, and you can see how I'm starting to get that rose. Beautiful. It's very, very simple. Let's do our last one here. Same again, just squishing it down. I want it almost paper thin at the top. There we are. Same again, where it comes together here, almost comes together, I want to be working opposite it. So I'm building up that beautiful rose on either side. I don't want all my petals on just one side. And just bending them back just a teeny bit at the top, just teasing them. There we are, looking gorgeous. And guys, we're going to just keep going like that. So I'm out of petals. I'm going to leave my rose laying down. Go back to my little petal balls here, put them inside, flatten them, and start again. So this time I'm working on the side where my 2 petals come together here. I want one out the side there. So wrapping it around the bottom. It doesn't matter what this side looks like. We've got that beautiful rose building on top there. Folding that back a little bit. Wonderful. Let's do one on the other side. We're getting a gorgeous rose here. It looks beautiful. There we are, looking fantastic. There we go, looking beautiful. I'm going to add just one more petal, and this one I'm going to do a little bit larger. So I'm rolling it. I'm just going to flatten this one out in my hands. It's the last one, and I really want it to be lovely and thin on the top there. Okay, here's my big petal. The last one. I'm going to pop it over here. There we go. And then this one I'm going to just fold back a little bit as well. Wonderful. That is a gorgeous looking rose. Now I'm going to lay it down here. Now we want our little green stem coming away. So I'm going to take my lighter green here. And again, I'm going to just flatten the top out with my fingers. I've just pinched a little bit of green off. There we go. Nice and thin. We don't want it to be a thick stem coming away. This is going to cover the base of our rose here. So nice and thin. And then I'm going to just pick up my rose for this. Folding it around the bottom here. Like that. I'm going to start to pinch it into the base. Looking beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is actually start getting this onto the background so I can position it now. So I'm going to have my rose kind of laying on its side like this, going across. I'm going to get some leaves on here as well. So I can start opening up these petals here that are coming towards us. Wonderful. Have a play around with yours. Be very gentle. They're very, very thin. There we go. That's beautiful. Laying down on its side. And then I'm just gently coiling back some of the green here. So it looks like the leaves are kind of folding back a little bit. And then I'm creating a nice skinny stem going away from my rose, making sure it is pushed down onto the blue background. We're going to do a glue sealant over this to make it look glossy and beautiful. Resist the temptation to squish your rose down onto the background. We don't need to do that because we're going to be using a glue sealant, and we can easily secure the rose that way rather than squishing it down onto the surface there. And just take that bit off. Lovely. And then I'm going to use a little bit of a dark green here. I'm going to have like a little leaf coming up. So I need to flatten this out. Try and get it into a nice point at the top here. There we are. So I'm going to have one leaf. I don't need all of this green on the bottom. I'm going to peel some of that off and away. There we are. That's going to be coming up and around. See how I'm making it three-dimensional? It's lifting up off the surface there. Wonderful. And again, folding that underneath. Now my clay tool here, I'm using a sharp pencil. That is all. I'm going to draw a line down the center of my leaf. Just using the sharp pencil. And then a couple little lines going away. That's all I need to do. There we go. That's my leaf pattern on there. And I'm just going to peel back the petals a little bit more. Again, have a play around with them. Make sure you are happy with where your petals are sitting. Oh, that looks beautiful. Very happy with my little rose. In fact, I think I will do one more green petal going up the other way. Just a skinny, tall little leaf going up the other way. So same thing. Just pinching it with my fingers, getting that fuzzy edge away from the side. It's going to come down into a nice point as well. And before I push it down, I want to just position it and make sure I'm happy with it. It's a little too thick. I want to see that blue background. You may have something totally different to me. Work with what you have. Take your time. There is no rush in creating these lovely little masterpieces. There we go. I like that. So we're going to pinch this and make it a little bit thinner at the top there. And just tidying off the bottom. So I'm just scraping any bits away from the bottom there. And I want that same lovely leaf pattern that I've created on one on the other. So I'm taking my pencil, just rubbing the excess off onto my hand there. Gently pulling my pencil down to the center of the leaf, all the way down. And then that little tick shape coming up. It's like a little arrow. On one side and then on the other side. It's that simple. If you do something you don't like or the pattern isn't the way you want it, just smooth back over it with your finger and you can do it again. Guys, that is my rose done pretty much. Now I need to add a nice gloss finish to it and I need to get it secured to its picture frame as well. Isn't that beautiful? Roses are a lot simpler than what you would think. You could do any colors, you could do a bigger display and have different roses and flowers on there. I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with. Okay, for the next step, I have my glue here. And I have my picture frame, which is my decorative plate. You can do anything you want for yours. And we want to secure our beautiful rose here in the center of our plate. So what I'm going to do, I have an old paintbrush here and I'm going to scoop up some glue and I'm applying it to the plate, not the back of the rose. It is going onto the plate here. I don't want to have to flip the rose over and risk squishing it down. So it is going straight onto the plate. And then when I am done, I will place the rose on top. And I really don't have to squish it down because the modeling clay is actually quite heavy. So it's going to put quite a lot of pressure on the plate. All I have to do is be patient and let it dry. So yeah, this is quite a large chunk, a Play-Doh, modeling clay I've used for this. So here we go. Doesn't dry immediately, so once you've plonked it down, slide it around and get it to the position you want in the center. Oh my goodness, that looks beautiful. Now, the fun bit. We are going to cover our beautiful flower in glue. I'm using Elmer's glue here. You could use Mod Podge if you would prefer. Do not worry that it looks white. It will dry perfectly clear. You will not see any white on here. You will have a beautiful, glossy looking finished piece. Now, as I am covering this in glue, I'm going from the stem down onto the blue. I'm also securing my rose even more down to the surface. So when it hangs, it's not going to slide off. Let's go all over our rose and very carefully on the petals and get a beautiful glossy finish. And there we go. You can already see how beautiful and glossy it is starting to look. Oh, I'm just going to slide it down a little bit where it's still wet. There we go. Now, if you put a little bit too much pressure on your petals as you were glossing them, they're still wet. Use your paintbrush. Coil them around and mold them back into the shape that you want them. Beautiful. Once you have done that, be patient. Allow your rose to dry perfectly before you try picking this up. It's a heavy piece of work, and if it hasn't sealed to the plate underneath, it will slide off under the weight of the modeling clay. So be patient, wait for it to dry, and you will have a beautiful three-dimensional flower to hang or give as a beautiful gift for somebody. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? There we go, guys. Now, you guys know the secret. Making roses like this is so much easier than it actually looks. All you do is take those little balls of modeling clay, flatten them out, and then roll them around to make the petals. It's that simple. You can get creative with this now. You know how to make them. Have a go with some explosive colors, different shaped petals, and see what gorgeous creations of flowers you can come up with. Be creative with your picture frames. Remember to lay your base color down first. Remember, I used my sky blue. And most importantly, no matter what you choose to do, have fun.